software we should buy, for example. Okay? So if we want to know, okay, we want to know, okay, what should be the break-even point, comparing, for example, in this case, we are comparing software 1 and software number 2, 200,000. We are comparing between this software and this software. Okay, we want to know where is break-even, which is the minimum number that we need to use this software so that we will be equally no loss and no profit. So this is software A, this is software B. So what we have here is fixed cost, this is variable cost. This is fixed cost, variable cost. Solving this, finally we get this number. So this is what is showing here. Let's say you plot graphically. You have 200K. Okay, this is the point. Let's say this is 200. And let's say this point is 300. Okay, if I take this number and this number. Okay, and this is actually, if you continue, it's just a fixed line. Okay, 60. So this is, let's say, V. V is volume or quantity. Sometimes we use it Q, okay, the volume. So from 200,000, and the slope will be like this. Okay, let's say this is the slope for, this line is representing, okay, 200,000. Okay, I put K to represent 1,000 plus 60V. 60V. Okay, and the other one is 300,000. Okay, 300,000 is higher, but the slope is lower because it's 25. So you're going to have a line like this. Okay, so this line representing 300, okay, because it's higher than 200, plus 25 V, okay, V1. So this is the point that we want to find. Okay, this is the point that we want to find. So at this point, if we solve this simultaneous equation, you get V1 equal to 2857. Okay, 2857. So this is what we call it break-even point. Okay, break-even point. Okay, break-even point. So meaning that the cost is the same. Either you are buying software A or software B. Okay, with that amount of jobs to be done. Okay. So okay, this is how we want to compare, but we can also use break-even point, okay, to identify is there any loss or is there any profit. But now we just use break-even for comparing. So if we are producing more than 2857, we should use software B because it is cheaper. Okay, this line is cheaper. Okay, but if we are producing less than 2857, okay, we should use A. Okay, A will be cheaper. Okay, A will be cheaper. Okay, this one is cheaper. Okay, if you are producing less than this, but if you produce more, okay, we should take B. Okay, software B. Okay, so we will discuss more on this break-even for profit and loss later on. So this is what we get. Even we can compare all these three alternatives. For example, in this case, okay, if you want to compare three, so our concern here to find what is this break-even, what is this break-even, what is this break-even. Okay, because this is total cost. Okay, our decision will be based on the volume that we produce. Okay, so we select lower volume is better. Let's say this one 666, the break-even between B and C. B and C. So if you produce more than 666, we should use C. Okay, so if we produce between 666 and 57, we should select process B. Okay, process A here is referring to this one. Okay, the lowest cost if you are producing less than this. Okay, so this crossover chart is actually comparing between total cost, where fixed cost and variable cost play an important role. Right. Any question before I move to new one?
No, Doctor.
All right. So let me move on to again also break even. Okay. Okay. Nampak sekarang Hello?
Tak nampak lagi, Doctor.
Tak nampak lagi. Okay. Let me see what happened. Sekarang nampak ya?
Nampak, Doctor.
Okay. So this is coming from chapter 7S. Okay, again, break-even analysis. So where we are using this to evaluate process and equipment alternative. Okay, break-even analysis is to evaluate process and equipment alternative. So the objective is to find point in dollar or in monetary value and unit at which cost equal revenue. Okay, now we are using break-even analysis for decision either we are making profit or we are losing. Okay, require estimate fixed cost and variable cost and revenue. Okay, for the purpose of knowing is there any revenue or is there any loss. Okay, as mentioned earlier, okay, so revenue, what is meaning of revenue? So anyone, please, what is revenue?
Sales.
Okay, revenue is coming from sales. So you can have price, okay, multiplied by quantity. Okay, price by quantity or price multiplied by volume. Okay, in terms of cost, cost will be fixed cost, okay, plus variable cost. Okay. Okay, what will be the profit? What is profit? Nampak tak saya tulis ni?
Nampak saya?
Alright. What is profit? Azhar. Okay, what is profit?
Revenue minus cost.
Okay, okay, very good. Revenue minus cost. Or sometimes people call it sales. Okay. Sales or revenue minus total cost. Okay, minus total cost. So I forgot to put here total cost. Total cost. Okay, total cost. Okay, profit is revenue minus total cost. Okay. Okay, so we have also what is total cost? Total cost is coming from fixed costs, okay, and also variable cost. Okay, what are example of fixed cost and variable cost? Okay. Okay, fixed costs. What are the fixed costs? Fixed cost is coming from, okay, for example, okay, building costs. Okay, the fixed costs are costs that continue even no unit are produced. Ya, seperti saya katakan tadi, either you produce small quantity or no quantity produced, you still have to pay. For example, building kan, you dah buat bangunan, either you produce or you not, you still have to pay. Okay, doesn't depend on quantity produced. So it also can come from depreciation. Okay, dalam accounting there are depreciation. Like this is like you are renting. Okay, cost per year, how much you pay, how much is the depreciation go to your account okay, for that building cost. Okay, you can consider as the cost of using that facilities ataupun capacity, depreciation cost. Okay, cost menyewa contohnya. okay, still have to pay kos menyewa. Okay, we call it depreciation cost. Okay, doesn't depend on quantity produced. Ataupun tax for the hutang, mortgage payment. So basically, this is cost like building, buying machine, okay, renting a machine. This is a cost where not depend on quantity. Variable cost, we assume that more product produced, more unit produced, the cost will be higher. Contohnya kalau you bayar pekerja based on hourly rate, 1 jam bekerja dia dapat RM10, 2 jam kerja RM20, 3 jam kerja RM30. Same also material, the more you produce, you have to pay more. Okay, same also for electricity. The more machine you run, okay, the more bill that you have to pay. So this is, we call it variable cost. Okay. Okay, so if we put it in this line, macam saya tunjukkan tadi, okay, same, we have fixed cost, we have variable cost. This is total cost, okay, total cost. This is cost, okay, total cost, unit produced, the quantity. Okay, we just concerned about this blue line, blue line. This line disappear later on. We just know that this is fixed cost. Okay, if you have a sales, you're going to get this line. Okay, zero quantities we sell, we got zero. Okay, so up to a certain point, we call it break-even point. Okay, break-even point where total cost will be equal total revenue. The red line is the revenue because it is selling price, okay, multiplied by quantity that you are selling. Okay, so this is a cost. Total cost where you have fixed cost 200. Okay, variable cost is given by this line. Higher variable cost, higher slope. Okay, lower variable cost is lower slope. So somewhere here, you're going to have break even. In break even, there is no profit, no loss. Okay, you see that this line, no profit, no loss. So if you want to make a profit, you must produce more than break even. Okay, you must produce more than break even point. So if you produce less than break even, you are losing. We call it loss corridor. This is profit corridor. Okay, up to this point, everyone clear? Hello?
Clear, sir.
Clear, Dr. Clear.
All right. So this is where we use break-even analysis to know how much quantity that we should produce, because the quantity will determine, for example, to select what strategy to use. Okay, what strategy in production we should use. If you produce high quantity, we should go for product focus, where the unit that we produce is unit cost per unit. Unit cost that we produce per unit is low, but fixed cost is high. But we need to produce enough quantity. Okay, jumlah quantity yang mencukupi untuk justify that we should use product focus. But if we don't have enough quantity to produce, okay, you may have to select process focus. What is process focus? Process focus most likely kebiasaannya fixed cost-nya adalah rendah, relatively rendah berbanding dengan proses fokus, tetapi variable cost-nya tinggi. Okay, variable cost-nya tinggi kalau proses fokus. Okay, so this is assumption when we do break-even analysis. We assume that the costs are linear. Okay, sometimes costs are not linear. The more you produce, actually you can bring down the unit cost lower price. Okay, but in this case, we just assume that the cost is linearly related. Okay, unit cost is related to the quantity that you produce. Okay, but in real life, the more you produce, actually unit price will bring down lower. Okay, so we actually know this cost. Okay, so we made assumption that we know the cost. Okay, time value of money is not considered in this analysis, but later on you will learn in engineering economy, money has time value. Okay, as I mentioned last time, okay, RM1 today is not same as RM1 5 years ago. Okay, RM1 today mungkin boleh beli karipap 2 biji sahaja. Okay, mungkin 5 tahun lepas boleh beli 4 biji. Okay, so the value of money has depleted. Okay, dah berkurang. So dalam case ini, simple case ini kita assume bahawa time value of money is not considered. Okay, we ignore that. Alright, so that is enough for break even. Let me go back to capacity. Okay, capacity analysis. Okay, there are several parameters that we need to understand in capacity. Capacity in a simple way, we say that it is, for example, in a ballroom ataupun theater, how many people that can go in. So that is capacity. Kalau we are talking in manufacturing, we would like to know that, okay, for a warehouse, okay, how many quantity of products, okay, that this warehouse can hold. Okay, or throughput, okay, we call it throughput, or number of units, okay, the facility can hold, can receive, can store, or can a machine can produce. This is what we mean by capacity. Capacity of machine, how much it can produce in 1 hour, for example. Kalau kita kata capacity of a store, how many unit of product can be put in store. Okay, kalau kita kata mungkin receiving area, how many shipment that the product can receive, and so on. Okay, so the capacity determine fixed cost. Okay, fixed cost, and also determine if demand can be satisfied. Okay, if we don't have capacity, we cannot accept order by customer. That's very important for us to know the capacity. Okay, we cannot just take order, but we cannot deliver, because this will give negative implication. Okay, I already mentioned this. Capacity is long range planning. Okay, long range planning, where we decide either to add facilities ataupun to accept, okay, longer lead time. Okay, so facilities ataupun decision related to capacity is long range planning. Okay, so we have short range planning like scheduling. Okay, we can improve capacity by having good schedule. Okay, by having good scheduling, we can improve capacity kalau kita properly schedule our production. Okay. Okay, so in discussing about capacity, we have to understand we have design capacity and effective capacity. Okay, I want you to read. Please read this. What is design capacity? What is effective capacity? What is the difference? Okay, I would like to ask, okay, any one of you, or you can volunteer. What is the difference between design capacity and effective capacity? Okay, please read my slide. What do you understand? Please, anyone volunteer?
So,
Yes.
design capacity is like the theoretically how much at max you can produce,
Okay.
while effective capacity is like based on what conditions you are, how much you can produce at most.
Okay, what do you understand by condition?
It's
Tanesh,
like
right? Okay, Tanesh.
yes.
Okay.
It's like how much, like setakat yang mampu, sir. I don't know how to explain that part.
Okay, what is the difference now? The design and effective. Okay,
Design
design.
is
Okay, proceed.
like ideal conditions, sir.
All right. Design is ideal condition where you first design a factory. Okay, you know that this design capacity can take certain amount of unit, but when you are operating, okay, there are some limitation to it. Okay, so there might be machine is working slower than as expected. Okay, so because constraint is operating condition. Okay, operating condition is not perfect and not as the theoretical design. Okay, let's say you go to a classroom. The capacity of classroom is 100 students, but suddenly all the students come in, but 2 chairs are broken. Okay, so a capacity of 100 can take how many students now?
98.
2 chairs broken.
98.
98. So this is, we call it effective capacity. Okay, Yeah, it's designed. See, on paper, it's 100 students can go in, but when 100 students come in, 2 chairs cannot be used. Okay, so we end up with 98. So effective is subject to operating condition. Same also in factory. Sometimes we design a machine to run to produce, let's say, 100 units per hour. But because of machine sometimes got stuck, you have to stop the machine to adjust the machine. Okay, because of that we lost the time. We lose the time, operating time loss because of operating constraint, which is some material stuck to the machine. So you may able to produce only 98 units. Okay, because time has lost to adjust the machine. Okay, so now you have to understand capacity, design capacity and effective capacity are two different things. Effective is considering operating constraint. Okay, kekangan masa menggunakannya. Okay, so normally of course it is lower than design capacity. Right, so we also have to know the utilization. Okay, what is utilization and what is efficiency? Okay, utilization is basically a ratio between actual divided by design. Okay, so in the case just now, a machine that can produce actual can produce 98 units. Okay, because of mungkin poor maintenance, we got components stuck. Okay, we cannot move, we have to stop. We have to service the machine. Okay, design is 100. So now utilization is only 0.98. Okay, so utilization is a ratio. So what is efficiency? Efficiency is okay, the percent of effective capacity okay, actually achieved. So actual output they divide by effective capacity. Okay, this is efficiency. So let's say the actual output is 98 unit. Effective is also 98. So you now efficiency is 100%. Okay, but if your actual output, let's say there are few component damage, okay, you have to reject. Okay, you have to reject. Okay, the actual one is the actual one is not 98 because maybe you have to remove 3 unit rosak, 3 unit rosak. So the actual might be 98. Okay, so let's say I give a different example. Let's say 3 rosak. Okay, defective. Okay, so your actual output actually is 95. Okay, actually is 95. Okay, your effective capacity is 98. Okay, now you have less than 100%. Okay, so it will be what, 90 something, right? So this is efficiency. Okay, so what actually actual output divide the effective capacity. Okay, so remember the effective capacity is due to operating constraint. Operating constraint that you cannot avoid. But when actual production, okay, in actual production, you may get lower, okay, than effective capacity. So might be due to skill of manpower. Okay, the skill, the workers are not efficient enough. Okay, produce less, so efficiency is lower then. Okay, even though the effective capacity allow them to produce more than the actual. Okay. Okay, this is an example here, a simple example. Actual production is 148 rolls. This is the bakery example, 148 rolls. Effective capacity is 175. Design capacity is 1,200 per hour. Remember this per hour. The others is per week. Okay, this per week, this per hour. So let's say this bakery operate 7 days per week. So 3 shift, 8 hours per shift. So design capacity is 7 days multiplied by 3 shift, 8 hour per shift, and this is production per hour. So theoretically, should produce 201,600. But utilization, okay, utilization is not 2,000 I mean, not fully utilized, because why? The actual production is only 148. Okay, 148. Divide by design. So now we have utilization only 73.4% of the capacity is being used. Okay. So if we look at efficiency, efficiency is actual divided by 175. 175 is capacity, effective capacity, where we consider operating cost rate. Okay. So the running at that production is not as it is in terms of what we call this not as it's supposed to be, even after considering operating cost rate. Okay, so efficiency will be 84.66%. Okay, because we consider this as operating cost rate. So you need to understand this. Design capacity, effective capacity, utilization, and efficiency. If you want to know the expected output, okay, we can get this from effective capacity multiplied by efficiency. Okay, effective capacity and then the efficiency, you know what is the actual output. Okay, actual. It's the same formula. Like this one. This formula. This one is up. Okay. So actual output divided by effective, okay, you can get the efficiency. So if you want to know actual output, okay, actual output, expected output means expected actual output. Okay. So we can know what is the effective capacity, okay, and multiply by efficiency. Consideration of capacity. If you want to decide what capacity that you want to build for your manufacturing, you need to know that what is the forecast demand. Okay, permintaannya berapa? We have to make a forecast. Ramalan. If you build a factory, how big is the factory you build? You need to know the forecast demand. Okay, because you're not sure who will buy, but we can forecast. Okay, so dalam manufacturing using the forecasting, the income of the population, okay, how many people in that area, okay, the standard of living, okay, what are the factors, maybe for those who are buying through let's say getting loan from bank, either the bank is giving loan or not, okay, so what is the rate of interest rate in the bank, so all these influence, okay, for potential demand. It's also seasonal demand. Some products selling is basically seasonal. Okay, for example, you are selling ice cream. In the rainy days, okay, the demand for ice cream is lower compared to a sunny day. Okay, same also if you are selling air conditioner. Okay, when there is rainy season, those are selling aircon, less sale compared to during when there is time that temperature is high, people go and buy more air conditioners. So we need to forecast and there are factors influencing this. We need to match the technology and the value that we are expecting the demand or sales volume. Find the optimum operating size. Okay? And also when we build a facility, we have to consider possible change, possible increment. Okay? We can expect that in future, in 5 years, it's like going to be increasing demand. So we have to design potential for expansion. Potential for expansion. Because if you design just cukup, so you may have problem when the demand is high. So that causes that maybe the company has to move to another new area. Okay? So it is good to have design maybe future change or expansion in consideration. People are talking about economic scale. For example, there is economic scale. Okay, there is a break even, what we call it optimal value. Okay, for example, this value, economies of scale. Okay, how much? Because quantity will determine Okay, the optimum value here, if you produce less, it's more costly. If produce more, it become more costly. So there will be economy of scale. Okay, economy of scale. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about demand and supply. There is a demand and supply. So how we can manage demand, okay, and also we have issues related to okay, well, I think somewhere else in different slide we have supply. Okay. When we want to decide capacity, okay, we need to understand of demand. Okay, demand adalah permintaan lah. Okay. If demand exceed capacity, maknanya permintaan melebihi kapasiti yang kita ada. Okay, so what we need to do? Okay, demand is so good, but we don't have capacity to produce. Okay, so remember that our objective is to have demand equal to capacity. Equal to capacity. Okay, our equation is very simple, not complicated like you study thermodynamic or fluid mechanics. Okay, very simple. Demand equal to capacity. Okay, but the understanding is very important. Okay, what happens if demand exceed capacity? Okay, can anyone give opinion? What happens if demand exceed capacity? Keadaan macam mana boleh berlaku ni? Or you can give example in real life. Apa berlaku? Demand is more than capacity.
Contoh.
Sir,
Apa?
bila
Harga
demand
naik.
harga naik.
Harga naik. Demand lebih
Contohnya
capacity.
macam laptop sir. Sekarang kan online learning. So
Yes.
laptop harga semua melambung.
Okay, yes, correct. Okay, demand is tinggi, kapasiti pengeluaran tak sampai, tak mencukupi. Betul? Pergi mana-mana kedai pun dah tak ada dah yang murah-murah. Okay, yang 2,000, 2,500 dah tak ada. Yang ada 4,000, 5,000 kan. Okay, that is where demand is more than capacity of production. Okay, capacity dah kilang tak boleh produce, nak cater, semua orang nak komputer. Even sekolah rendah pun nak pakai komputer. Okay, dulu budak universiti yang pakai. Okay, so demand. Satu lagi ialah sekarang ni, COVID. Okay, COVID nak dapatkan
COVID.
apa tu yang dipanggil apa tu? Vaksin. Okay, demand for vaccine is high. The capacity of production is less than the demand. So we have to wait and we have to queue. Okay, itu maksudnya demand. So what happened in this situation? Okay, one way is you can curtail demand. Okay, how to do it? You can raise the price. Is it a good strategy? Naikkan harga.
For the company, yes.
This is a short-term strategy. Okay, so my advice to you, when demand is high, don't increase the price because customer will run away and you create more competition. Okay, those who are, having also knowledge in this area, they will set up a new company and open and selling a cheaper price, and you are losing the customer. Okay, so an ethical producer will maintain the same price. Okay, even the demand is good. Okay, because long term, this is the way it should go. Kalau some businesses take opportunity, demand tinggi dia naik harga. So next time, there will be alternative. Okay, somebody else will produce similar product, and you go and buy a cheaper one with good quality from alternative supplier. Okay, another strategy we can do is what we do, rescheduling. Okay, longer lead time. Maknanya kita menerima tempahan tetapi kita janji, okay, tak dapat hari ni, mungkin dapat 2 bulan lagi. Ni especially for bukan urgent lah. Okay, produk yang bukan urgent. Okay, what happen is capacity exceed demand. Okay, apa berlaku? Apa contoh di sini? Capacity lebih daripada demand. Apa berlaku?
Harga jatuh.
Harga jatuh. Okay, harga jatuh. Okay, capacity lebih daripada demand. Okay, so jadi apa yang kita boleh buat, okay, to stimulate the market is we can stimulate the market. Okay, maksudnya apa stimulate the market? To increase the demand. Okay, demand tak ada sekarang ni. Kita buat bisnes tapi tak ada orang datang pembeli. Okay, buat bisnes katakan, okay, part time lah. Okay, mungkin duduk kat rumah, belajar pun online, mungkin nak buat bisnes nasi kerabu. pagi-pagi kan. Tengok demand tak ada, macam mana nak buat ni? Banyak buat ni tapi tak laku. Apa nak buat?
Advertise.
Alright. So advertise. Stimulate market is by advertising. Okay, giving promotion. Okay, so this is how you stimulate. Sebenarnya demand tak ada tapi kita create awareness. Okay, kita masuk dalam Facebook, kita masuk Instagram. Okay, kita minta kawan kita promote. Tiba-tiba demand pun naik. Okay, so this is what we call it stimulate the market. Okay, jadi kalau kita pergi pasar raya, dia cakap sale, 50% sale. Okay, setiap masa sale kan. So be careful lah, sebenarnya that is how to stimulate the demand. Okay, bukan special sangat, tapi nak stimulate the demand supaya pelanggan tertarik. Okay, kadang-kadang kita pergi beli satu dapat satu. Satu yang diberi percuma tu ialah mungkin produk yang dah tak laku, yang dah obsolete. Okay, so that's how some tactics people are doing in marketing lah. Okay, we have to be careful kalau banyak sangat sale tu. Okay, betul tak sale ni? Kadang-kadang sale tu tengok benda yang dah nak expired. 50% sales. Tengok deadline dia punya expiry date. Oh esok. Okay, so kita makannya tak sedar. Next week baru nak makan. Okay, especially processed food, canned food, all this. Okay, so that also people are doing that. So we as customer, we have to be smart. We know that actually there is a lot of advertisement tu dia nak stimulate the market. Okay, ataupun kalau there is no demand, we need to improve the products lah, design. And also we can use a strategy what we call it adjusting seasonal demand. Okay, adjusting to seasonal demand. Contohnya certain produk the demand is following seasonal. Dalam contoh ini ditunjukkan snow mobile motor dengan jet ski. Jet ski. So this is the demand and this is the demand. So the demand of this product following season, ikut musim, ikut musim. Contoh yang saya katakan tadi, you are in business of jual ice cream. Kalau bulan masa tengkujuh, okay, ice cream dia menurun. Okay, kita mempunyai kilang untuk membuat makanan. Jadi kalau musim tengkujuh, ice cream tak laku. Apa yang laku musim hujan?
Tutup.
Remote kata.
Payung.
Payung. Boleh tak kedai ice cream keluarkan payung?
Kopi.
Ice cream goreng.
Ice cream goreng. Okey, ice cream goreng tak macam mana tu? Saya pernah nampak juga tapi tak pernah makan. Okey, musim tengkujuh jual ice cream, semua barang-barang sejuk kan, tak laku ni bulan Disember ni. So kita nak buat apa? We need to find a product that can match, okay, supaya dapat warna biru ni. Ice cream tak laku tapi musim tengkujuh apa yang laku? Janganlah kerupuk leko.
Pau sir, pau.
Pau. Okay, benda-benda yang panas kan? Tapi janganlah
Coklat.
kilam ice cream. Okay, lepas tu keluarkan payung. The business dah lari tu, tak ada mesin. Okay, peralatan berbeza. Jadi kalau kita in food business, okay, ice cream tak laku, okay, keluar kerupuk leko. Assuming kerupuk leko laku masa musim tengkujuh. Okay, macam itulah. So, we have to understand the trend of sale. Ada ketikanya sale-nya tinggi, ada ketikanya sale-nya rendah. Okey, apakah sale yang bermusim lagi? Okay, selain makanan.
Kuih raya.
Kuih raya. Okey, musim raya tempahan kek tinggi ya.
Betul.
Okey, kalau masa bukan musim raya nak buat apa? Tutup kedai ke?
Cookies. Kek.
Okay, mungkin kita buat produk makanan lain lah, mungkin yang boleh disimpan lama kan.
Perbagaikan produk.
Perbagaikan produk. Okay, this ada strategi lah. Sebab kita mempunyai pekerja. Kita tak boleh adakan pekerja duduk saja ya. Okay, jadi when you understand the pattern of demand, you can plan when to produce the product, bulan bila and so on. Okay, katakan kita mempunyai kilang pakaian. Okay, mungkin dia hujung tahun, okay, kita busy mengeluarkan pakaian untuk sekolah. Okay, kerana expecting demand untuk pakaian uniform sekolah tinggi. So apabila musim sekolahan dah habis, okay, orang tak beli pakaian sentiasa masa kan. Biasanya awal tahun ramai orang beli ataupun hujung tahun orang beli uniform sekolah. Jadi apabila musim sekolah dah bermula, mungkin kilang kain kita mengeluarkan produk-produk lain, mungkin baju, t-shirt untuk penggunaan umum lah. Okay, so jadi kalau kita dah tengok trend ini, kita boleh dapat warna biru ini. Maksudnya we try to combine the seasonal demand so that our production continues. Okay, so this is important to understand the demand. So we need to match between demand and capacity, seperti yang saya sebutkan tadi. These are some of strategy we make. Satu strategi adalah kita making staffing chain. This is not good strategy. Maksudnya kita buang pekerja bila demand rendah, kita ambil pekerja bila demand tinggi. This is not a good strategy because we cannot maintain good staff. Okay, adjusting equipment. Kita beli mesin tambahan bila demand tinggi, ataupun kita sewa, ataupun kita jual bila mesin itu rendah. So this is not good strategy ya. 1 dan 2 is not good strategy. But if we can improve process to increase throughput, this is good. Okay, increase throughput maknanya increase capacity. Kita improve proses, kita percepatkan proses, kita permudahkan proses, kita redesign product. This is a good strategy. Okay, also we redesign product supaya lebih cepat pengeluarannya. And we add flexibility, okay, untuk menangani changes in the demand. Okay, the last one is closing facilities. This is not good one lah. Bila bisnes tak ada, kita tutup. Di semua orang tak ada kerja. Okay, but anyway, these are option of tactics. They call it tactics or to address changes in demand. Okay, and then to match with the capacity. The best one is capacity should be equal to demand. Okay, that is the best. We want to get that equation lah. Okay, kalau demand lebih, apa masalah? Capacity lebih pun masalah. Okay. Okay, normally in demand for services, how they manage? They are using appointment. Okay, appointment approach in services macam nak pergi jumpa dentist, kita buat appointment. This is first come first serve rule. Kita nak pergi jumpa barber untuk gunting rambut pun kita boleh buat appointment. This is how people manage demand in services. Okay, ataupun kita boleh gunakan part-time, full-time, part-time workers, temporary workers to increase the capacity. Okay, theory of constraint, I think you can relate this to the bottlenecks. Okay, theory of constraint, the bottleneck. Saya dah sebut sebelum ni bottlenecks. This is when we are talking about production line. Okay, when we have production line, the throughput adalah apa yang terkeluar di hujung ni lah. The throughput time is the time takes a unit to go through production from start to end. Kalau kita kata throughput time, kita mengira daripada awal hingga akhir. Throughput time kat sini adalah 2 campur 4 campur 3, which is 9 minit per unit. This is throughput time. Bottleneck time is the time of the slowest workstation. Okay, what is bottleneck time dalam this diagram? Bottleneck time.
4 minutes B.
4 minutes. Bottleneck is here. Bottleneck is here. Okay, so can we take 10-minute breaks?
Boleh sir.
Right.
Boleh sir.
We take a break now and then come back in 10 minutes.